When you step into the gloom, the darkness of a cave, you escape the world where we live ordinarily. You step into a different world.
It's very clear that lots of Paleolithic art caves weren't visited often. It wasn't someplace everybody went on Sunday afternoons. Caves are liminal places. You're not dead, but you're not really alive. There are twists and turns. You don't know where you are. You can get mixed up really easily. And one has to ask themselves, then what were people doing in the caves?
Near the ruins of the hamlet of La Mouche in southwestern France, there is a small cave. It is enclosed by a stone wall built by a farmer over a century ago. The only light streams in through the narrow windows onto pallets of winter apples. Scattered about the cave are remnants from the past, evidence of a timeless rural life that persists to this day. In April of 1895, a farmer excavating fill from the cave unearthed a large deposit of Ice Age, then called Reindeer Age, tools. Upon hearing word of a discovery in the cave, the prehistorian Émile Rivière hurried to La Mouche to investigate. Armed only with a candle and finding a small opening in the back, Rivière crawled into a low, narrow passage, barely big enough for him to worm through. At about 100 meters, he entered a chamber. There, in the dim, flickering glow of the candlelight, he slowly discerned the faded image of an ancient bison with great curving horns carved into the rock wall. Never before had art been discovered on a cave wall beneath such deep and ancient sedimentary layers. Moving his candle back and forth across the surface of the cave, Émile Rivière searched out every alcove and crevice in La Mouche. On the ceiling, he found strongly engraved bulls and horses that seemed to float in the atmosphere. Though Rivière was sure that many of the images were more than 20,000 years old, he was cautious in announcing his discovery. The very notion that Ice Age art could be so ancient was considered dangerous.
When we deal with an art which we call fossil art, that is to say where the people who made it vanished a very long time ago, there is a big danger. It's to interpret it according to our own ideas, and our own ideas are extremely shaped by the period in which we live. At the beginning of the 20th century, prehistorians perceived people living during the Ice Age as being very uncouth and not very intelligent, halfway between us and apes. The big shot at the time was Émile Cartaillac, who was a professor of prehistory in Toulouse University, and he was against Upper Paleolithic art. He did not believe those people had done that. But at the time, there was at least one prehistorian called Édouard Piette, who had been working in the French Pyrenees. He had excavated a number of caves, big caves like Mas d'Azil. And he had found lots of portable art in his excavations. And he could tell that the art on the walls and the mobiliary art looked fairly similar, that they were the same animals represented. And so he was in favor of the authenticity, whereas everybody else was against.
Courageous and bold throughout his career, Piet premiered his recent findings at the Paris Exposition of 1878. Amongst the thousands who thronged to see his display, one Don Marcelino Sanz de Sautuola, a Spanish nobleman, was captivated. Returning to his home on the Cantabrian coastline of northern Spain, Sautuola began searching the many cliffs and caves surrounding his estate for treasure of the Ice Age. Little did he know that the series of rolling hills and small valleys between his own home and the medieval town of Santillana del Mar had once been a gathering place for Cro-Magnon. Located on the Jacobean Way, the ancient pilgrim path of San Giuliana, Santillana del Mar was long considered sacred by kings and lords, their royal crests still adorning the walls. Here in 1879, 16 years before Riviere's epiphany at the cave of Lamut, Don Marcelino Sanz de Sautuola discovered 13,000-year-old painted bison in the cave of Altamira. Poring over books and journals, Sautuola recognized the painted bison as an extinct species dating from the Ice Age. Desperate to safeguard his discovery, he placed an iron door at the cave mouth and urged the townspeople of Santillana to help in its protection. Sautuola began writing a series of impassioned letters to Émile Cartillac, inviting him to visit the cave, but to his astonishment, he received no reply. In 1880, Sautuola published an illustrated pamphlet on Altamira, in which he speculated that the images were of immense antiquity. The publication was the first to boldly suggest the existence of Ice Age paintings. A courageous challenge to the scientific establishment that proved to be his undoing. The paintings in Altamira are of exceptional beauty, and were seen by many as literally too good to be true.